Professor Anton, yeah, I think the issue is a couple things. One, if you expect people to watch like some history of videos or wait and buy your book in order to be able to converse with something, then I just don't get that. So if I go to a family wedding and I meet some distant indirect relation, and we're gonna talk philosophy or politics. Hey, what do you think of Obama? Well, here, read this book first. I'll talk to you when you finish it. Oh, good. I have a book too. Here, let's go read these books. You've annihilated the art of conversation, the craft, and I don't understand. I somewhat understand why you don't actually answer my point specifically, maybe because perhaps you think you should watch every one of my 1,400 videos before you do that. But I'm not asking that, okay? Because I don't think that it's necessary. So for example, I am one thing I am objecting to is you say that we've done nothing to deserve this gift. Well, I do not believe that is at all accurate. Through evolution, it is our ancestors and me in relation to my descendants struggling to survive, or if not struggling, working to survive, that has led us to this particular role. And perhaps I've said this before, and you said I'm not speaking language you understand. So let me just cite that. That's a Nietzschean idea, okay? That's where I got that. You, I believe, have read Nietzsche, so you are familiar with this idea that one should view oneself as a being going through time, since the chain of life is never broken. And just the fact that we reset and grow new brains every generation does not actually mean that we were a different being, because of course, as we know, being is becoming, right? Some people have said they sense the existentialism of this. So if being is becoming, then there is really no separation fundamental. Okay, now the whole thing about the animals is, yes, the way you have just put it, humans are superlative among superlatives. But two things. One, all those other animals don't go in the other category. Each one of them has their own category, right? Each one has their own category. So once again, what do you benefit by saying we're special? All you really need to say is, if we're an eagle, we need to learn how to use our wings. We're humans, we need to use our brain. We need to use our special gifts. But setting it aside into this I don't know, in some sort of a fundamental specialness, yes, I disagree with that strategy. Okay, and I have said many ways, and it all comes down to the evolution and the fact that we have morphology over time, where we change from one form into another and possibly back. Okay, for example, whales coming millions of years all the way onto the land and then back into the water. You know, so I really think that, yes, there is a specialness to each animal, but this is saying, no, the human specialness. And yes, differences of degree can become differences of kind, but that just proves there is no fundamental difference of kind. That we are positing categories on the world, and if we want to call that category distinct from another in degree or kind, that is almost purely semantic. Okay, there is no platonically fundamental form, so and there would have to be for that to be important. The form is suddenly fundamentally different, but it's not. It's an evolution. There is continuity in all of these forms and what connects them, and that continuity that connects us, and not just in the past, but in the future, right? Chimps could evolve into humans again. So that defies the specialness that you're applying. And you also, I do not think, you have not established any value to this distinction other than getting to think that humans are special. Now, that video that you quoted, that humans, it's intellectually dishonest to not admit that humans are somehow specialer than special, or special among the special. Or look, that's true. That is true. Humans are special. They're more special than any other animal in one context. If you're human, you're human. That's why you think that. But we have this forebrain that you talk about us being so special, and if there's something special about that forebrain, it's the fact that I can see the arbitrariness of that kind of specialness. It's personally valid. I live by it. I live a human life. I believe we as humans have the intellect and the position and the general purpose attitudes to evolve into a more caretaking role on the planet rather than an abusive, parasitic role. We have that in us. On the other hand, we're not there yet, so I don't see a lot to be proud of just seeing that truth, while I have to simultaneously see that it almost seems like there's no chance of that happening. So I think it is very counterproductive to emphasize this specialness, and all it can do is serve to further deify human thought processes once again in perhaps a new way. Okay, and I don't see what we get out of it. How does it help us solve the problems of epistemology, of politics, of health, of the oil spill? What possible problem does this attitude of special solve? Because look, we have a history of the problems that attitude of specialness causes, right? Galileo forced to denounce his own science, which was correct. Okay, so there's a lot of costs of humans continually over the ages considering themselves in the center of the universe in one sense or another, and never relenting. When forced back an inch, they retreat a half an inch, and beat to that full inch. They don't go a millimeter past it until the next wave comes. Well, I have seen the trend. It's a several thousand-year trend, and I have seen the trend, and I have decided with my forebrain that I do not appreciate this attitude, this addiction to that kind of specialness.